being harassed by my coworker with my allergic food, so I reported her to HR, but with no help. Everyone cornered me, and that's how they all lost their jobs. I am a 24-year-old small man, 5 feet 4 inches and 103 pounds as of my last physical. I'm well aware I'm at an unhealthy weight. My entire life I've been small, mostly due to illnesses and myriad allergies, and it's admittedly a sore spot. I am working with my doctor to gain weight while still fitting in with my dietary restrictions. No meat, dairy, gluten, or nuts. And honestly, I'm so much better than I was several months ago and proud of myself for the progress I've made. A coworker, Zoe, 30, a female, got pregnant and recently returned to work late Nov. She's been increasingly overt and uncomfortable in her concern for me. Zoe made and brought in cupcakes for her return, and when I thanked her for thinking of us but refused, citing my gluten allergy, she was visibly upset. She didn't shout or complain much, just sighed heavily and said that she would put this one in the break room with the rest. I felt awful. Then, she brought me a steak sandwich the next day on gluten-free bread. Again, I thanked her, but I had brought in my own lunch and needed to focus on that. Zoe told me it was in the fridge for when I finished. Ended up bringing it home so she wouldn't feel bad and gave it to my boyfriend. Next day, she approached again. I refused again. She insisted. By now, we weren't alone in the break room. She joked that it was rude to refuse a home-cooked meal in favor of that, my lunch. At that point, I just took it and thanked her. Then she just started leaving bagged snacks on my desk. She would approach with a snack or a portion of whatever she made for dinner the night before, and not leave me be until I had taken it. I went to our boss and explained that I felt uncomfortable and was told that she was probably feeling maternal and it would negatively impact morale to discourage her. So, been taking notes since then. What days Zoe has given what, when, who witnessed it, etc. From December 12th to now, she's done it 23 times. Yesterday, I took Zoe aside and explained that while I was touched, I would appreciate it if she wouldn't bring in anything else. She said that I should have said something sooner. She was only trying to help. Have I seen myself in a mirror? Does your boyfriend like you starving yourself? Among other phrases. Livid. I told her that maybe I didn't feel like sharing my personal medical history with her just so that my wishes were respected. For God's sake, we work with a hospital. Don't you know anything about HIPAA? We parted from there, me childishly storming off and her in tears. Have I already been a huge ass and would a report to HR just be the icing on the ass cake? To address a few commonly raised points, I said, "No thank you," repeatedly, to her face when she gave the food. She in turn would refuse to leave my desk or to stop talking to me in the break room or halls until I took it. She returned to work late November, before Thanksgiving, and started this behavior almost immediately. I waited until August 12th to speak with our boss, who is a woman, if that matters, and only then started counting the incidents. She is also no longer pregnant. Rather, I should have said that she returned from maternity leave. Edit 2. On August 1st, I'm aware I misused HIPAA, but was referencing it in the context that she should know better than to pry into medical history to satisfy her curiosity. Also, I wasn't thinking clearly when I said that to her. Update. 2 days later. Honestly, I've never more immediately regretted something. This exploded spectacularly. I went to HR saying that the matter was settled, but I wanted it documented. Subsequently was told that there would be an investigation and the incidents would be corroborated with witnesses, because as is the full record I claim is severe enough to warrant potential action for Pi and several other coworkers who also engaged in her behavior. HR started the process, apparently immediately, because I walked in yesterday to a shitstorm. This plunged the department into civil war. Many agree Zoe was out of line. Some told me I should have kept the status quo. Some said I was ungrateful and entitled. One said I should have handled this maturely, and who could blame her when I look like that, and I should be ashamed of myself. Another coworker suggested I work from home. Another told me he was sorry for not stepping in. I went to get my lunch out of the fridge, only to find someone had disposed of it and left behind the empty Tupperware. Nearly everyone has an opinion. The people in my corner have advised me to keep my head down and to take care. My boss held a meeting, first with Zoe and me, then a second with just me. During the one with Zoe, I was told to apologize for my part, and Zoe likewise. I'm sorry if I made you uncomfortable by caring about your health. My boss asked if I was satisfied now. I brought up Zoe's comments and my boss said I invited them. No one would call that harassment, and I need to work on myself. Together we went through each of the 23 events. She excused each of them until I was left to feel like I'd been harassing Zoe. The next meeting was even worse. Effectively, boss said, I told you not to retaliate, and instead you searched Zoe out to harass her, and your actions have expressed a worrying lack of cooperation with me and your team. She was also disappointed that instead of explaining that I needed her to resolve things, I escalated the situation well beyond the point of reason, and was cruel to someone who only wanted to help. She said I won't get far in life, and I'm not likely to get anywhere vocationally if I can't be a team player and actively sabotage a happy workplace. She hoped I will learn from this teachable moment how to behave in a collaborative environment, as it's inappropriate to involve HR for small misunderstandings. I'm just tired, confused, and hurt. HR seemed sympathetic. Boss is very clearly on Zoe's side. The office is split and tense. Currently updating my resume and job searching. It really does feel like a nightmare. Haven't felt good going into work for a while, and this just made it times worse. Yes. See another post on my profile for further details as well. Also might be worth adding that we have worked together for 2 years prior to this. The entire department is aware of the fact I have numerous allergies that severely restrict my diet. My boss and everyone above her is aware of my other medical conditions additionally. Too long, didn't read. She knew I had allergies. She constantly brought me food I would have a reaction to if I ingested or came into contact with. One last thought. Commenter. Isn't it weird that your colleagues that already know about your food allergies, a good number of them, do not react when you are offered allergy-laden food? It doesn't make sense that they already know, but are not even moderately reacting to it. Food allergies can kill, and them not doing anything is ridiculous, especially when this involves a good number of people. Original poster. Incredibly. As you can see, the office is terribly concerned for my health. Clarifying post. Zoe's name changed. On December 9th, Zoe approached with a pack of almonds. I told her, I can't have those and don't want them, but thank you for thinking of me. Approached straight after. Her response was that Zoe was probably feeling maternal, and it would negatively impact morale to discourage her. Zoe approached after lunch, about at 2 p.m., asking if I wanted a coffee. No one was around. I refused. She said she had gotten a free coffee and asked me to take it off her hands. I said I didn't want the coffee. She left it on my desk, threw it out in the break room. On December 12th, Zoe and CC ordered takeout from the diner. She offered an order of fries and a chicken salad, saying she knew I need the protein and fries brighten anyone's day. I refused, and she said, but I bought this for you. I apologized and said I already had my lunch and didn't ask her to. She said that I need to eat more than rabbit food. CC added that it would warm me up. I refused again and said I was more than happy with my lunch and didn't intend on changing my meal. CC told me to back off, it's just a salad. I apologized for being short, but I really was happy with my lunch. Zoe and CC left and took the food with them. On December 10th, 7:50 a.m., coffee. Refused. Zoe insisted. Refused again. She insisted again. Refused again. She insisted again. Just took the coffee to get her to leave me alone. Thrown out in the break room. On December 11th, a handful of Hershey Kisses on my desk after the 9:30 a.m. meeting. 2 packages of almonds on my desk after going to the bathroom at approximately 1 p.m. On December 14th at 11 a.m., Zoe placed a Tupperware of rice on the table in front of me in the break room. CN, CC, DP, and KG were all there. She told me rice would add substance to my lunch. I said thank you, but this is enough. People were staring and she wouldn't back down, standing directly in front of the table. I told her to take it back. She sighed and did. The break room was silent. I left to return to my desk. On December 15th, Zoe approached with salt and vinegar chips and a coffee with soy milk as soon as she walked in at 8 a.m. DP was there, but didn't get involved, as was KG and EK. I said, no thank you, but I'll reimburse you the cost. She said the real repayment would be for me to take what she gives me without fussing. I said, I don't want it, and never asked her for this. She responded, and that's why it's a gift. Bon appetit. KG suggested maybe waiting to be asked before buying someone a coffee, and Zoe said that ruined the surprise. EK added that not everyone likes surprises. Zoe rolled her eyes and stood waiting for me to take the drink. When I didn't, she put it on my desk. I gave the coffee and chips to EK after she left. On December 16th, came back from a meeting at 10:30 a.m. to a donut and croissant and hash browns on my desk. I approached her with the bag and asked if she put this on my desk. DP was there. Zoe said, "You're welcome," and I told her I won't eat this, so take it back. DP said I should eat it, stating I need to be fattened up and could use a couple dozen pounds. Mortified, I left to go back to my desk. On December 17th, in the break room at 1 p.m., Zoe tried to give me a ramen cup to supplement my snack in reference to my lunch. I said no. She asked if it would kill me to be nicer. I said no, but the ramen might, and left. On December 18th, Zoe tried to give me a coffee at 7:40 a.m. at my cubicle and stood there even after I said no. She proceeded to ask why I never ate. I said I eat, I just don't eat food given to me. I made a point to say it wasn't personal. I just only eat what I bring in for myself. She said, that's sad, and I needed to loosen up. EK walked by and greeted us both, and Zoe left, leaving the coffee behind, thrown out in the break room. On December 21st, Zoe brought in a store-bought cake and put it in the break room. At 3 p.m., she said she noticed I nearly missed out, but luckily she saved some for me. I said I didn't want the cake, or else I would have gotten myself some. She told me to have a cheat day and left the cake on my desk. I returned the slice to the break room and tossed it out. On December 22nd, Zoe placed a bag of chocolate coins on my desk after noon. I told her to take them back. She asked, who doesn't want chocolate? I said, me, and she said, maybe BF would like them. I followed her to her cubicle and gave them back. She rolled her eyes and scoffed but didn't further push. On December 23rd, Zoe approached me around 10:15 a.m. in the hallway with a package of homemade cookies. I said no thanks, but I appreciated her trying to be festive. I wished her a Merry Christmas and continued walking. Zoe approached again in the break room at noon. CN and PP were also there. She asked if I wanted her to drop off the cookies at my desk. I said no, I already said I didn't want them. CN said that they were super delicious and that Zoe even bothered with the gluten thing. PP suggested I could bring them home to BF so it didn't go to waste. I said no, thank you, and left to go back to my desk. After a meeting at 2:30 p.m., I came back to cookies on my desk and a note saying, Merry Xmas, thrown away in the break room. On December 24th, Zoe approached me in the break room at noon and asked if I ever eat anything fun. I tried to ignore her, but she tapped on the table until I said I enjoy what I bring in. She gave me a chocolate orange and a Pediasure, saying, you can't be dieting over the holidays. Threw out both as soon as she left. On December 29th, at 4:30 p.m., Zoe approached me at the time clock with a pair of granola bars and tried to get me to take them. I said no and said I needed to punch out. She wouldn't move until I took the bars. On December 30th, grab locks? Lox? I said I didn't want it, and Zoe spoke over me, explaining it as fermented fish with dill. I told her that was very interesting, but I still didn't want her offering me food. CN was there but did not get involved. CC said, wow, in an incredulous tone but didn't further react. 3 p.m., Zoe tried to give me a donut and a latte. When I refused, she just placed it on my desk. I gave both to EK. On December 31st, Zoe tried to give me a batch of fudge. She only offered the chocolate variety, but she also had made chocolate walnut and peanut butter variants, and not only did I not want them, I did not trust that she was careful enough with cross-contamination. I said as much to her. She was affronted that I would call her dirty, and I explained that it has nothing to do with cleanliness, and everything to do with preparation, tools, and surfaces. She sarcastically wished me a Happy New Year and left. On January 4th, a tin of assorted chocolates left on my desk, presumably after I left as they were there at 6 a.m., and I am the first person into the office. Left in the break room as they were sealed. On January 5th, Zoe approached with a Tupperware container at 8 when she walked in. I said no. She told me I needed to be less picky. I told her that I appreciated her caring, but I already had my own lunch, so please stop. She told me then I could have it for dinner and put it on my desk. When I tried to hand it back to her, she put her hands up and said, "No give backs." Returned to the communal fridge. At 5:30 p.m., spoke with Zoe concerning the food. No one was around. I said I have been patient and understanding that she cares, but I was not happy about my refusals being ignored, the comments about my food and body, and wished she would stop bringing me food. She said I should have said something sooner, and I pointed out that I had, repeatedly. She said, "I'm only trying to help, and haven't you looked in a mirror recently?" I said that was horribly rude. She asked, "Does BF like you starving yourself? Even gay men prefer meat." I said that any diet I was on and what I ate wasn't any of her business. She said, "Clearly you can't feed yourself." I said she should focus on yourself and your kid and stop bothering me. I left the conversation then and drove home. Relevant comment. Save for the changed names. This is nearly what HR received on top of a verbal meeting. Lawyer up, thank you, will do so. Working with a family friend who is a lawyer. She works in family court but has so far been invaluable in finding resources. Allergies. For what it's worth, my boss and upper management are aware of my allergies. What's the worst that happens if you take this stuff home? Itchy and raw hands, tear moons. Allergies are more than simply ingesting the substance. This is the last I will address to you on this matter. Final thoughts. I did not tell Reddit about the full scope of my conditions. As it is, Reddit and Zoe both have a similar understanding of my health. I am underweight, have several allergies, and other health conditions I do not feel like elaborating on. Final update post, January 25th, 2022. Just over 1 year later. It's been a long time since I even thought about this account. The 1-year anniversary of its creation passed not too long ago. When Ben mentioned having gone to Reddit about Zoe, I somewhat dismissed that as useful and kept on supporting him in the real world. Life goes on. I happened to check his email recently and saw the notification of the anniversary and a few folks looking for an update. He had given me the password a while back and open permission to check out what people were saying. I read up recently. Most of the comments and advice and well wishes were sweet, others were harsher as they gave their take. Many people wanted an update. Over 30 people messaged him. My husband Ben passed on August 21st, 2021 from complications of esophageal cancer. He was diagnosed in early May. We married a few weeks after, basically just the legal portion of it, and a romantic dinner to mark the occasion. He promised me a wedding with the whole kit and caboodle for after he beat cancer. I think we both knew better, even then, but pretending and planning gave us something to look forward to and focus on instead of his sickness. It took him very quickly. Ben's boss was first suspended, then let go. So was Zoe and a few others who collaborated with her. Ben received a settlement from the owner of the hospital and an admittedly generic apology for how everything was handled. I'd put money on the fact it just got too big to ignore, with too much being exposed and people speaking up. The boss's reaction to meetings, removing Ben from group work emails and project updates, not responding to calls or emails, and refusing meetings, all of which was documented by the automated message saying his emails were deleted without opening, even taking his work when he sent it to her for review and presenting it as someone else's. And Zoe's behavior, sending out mass texts to others in the office about a hypothetical situation about an ungrateful friend, forcing her to cook for him, but then not eating it. Or the group emails spanning months before things went down, discussing Ben's food and how he just has no taste because he wouldn't take what Zoe offered. The exact phrasing was lewd, more than just food was implied. Ben's new boss was accommodating of his medical leave when the time came and promised that he'd have his job back when he returned. His medical bills were covered partially by the owner and a collection from some of his coworkers and our friends. But there was a huge chunk we still had to pay. I had to file a restraining order against Zoe after her firing as she continued to try to contact us and stalk Ben especially. Sorry this update isn't comprehensive. I just feel he would have wanted to put a bow on things and give an ending. Thanks to everyone who was kind to him. It meant a lot.